What is up, and welcome back to the Trading Floor podcast. We are back today with some very exciting and I guess diverse range of news for you guys. Some ranging from YouTube creators all the way through to Elon Musk and Bitcoin and cinemas. So let's get into it, and let's get into the first one. Joel, what is the first article that we've got up with today?
First article we're looking at is a Mr. Beast article. He put out a tweet the other day where he was talking about his mental health related to making videos. He said, I'm pretty sure it was something that he has barely any days off compared to how many videos he's making in the next, I think, up until the end of the year. So he has got a very full schedule, and he basically put out a tweet on Twitter just saying, I'm going through some shit having to put all of this stuff out, but I hope you guys enjoy it. It doesn't seem like he's struggling too much at the moment, but I think he's just aware that something is, that he's just got to be careful and make sure he doesn't overdo it. But he has got a very busy schedule ahead of him for the next couple months.
Yeah, I think he's always said, like, wherever you listen to him, if you've had the opportunity to listen to him more, I guess more privately, or even on podcasts or different things like that, he is so invested in YouTube. It's ridiculous. Like the analytics side, like just everything, he cares about it so much, and it obviously shows in the results he gets, right? Like the effort he puts in is reflected by the result, but there comes a time when he can only do so much. Like you said, the tweet is him saying that he's basically got filming every single day for the rest of the year, which is what, like 3-4 months, depending on when you're obviously watching this. And it's like, I guess it becomes more like what people would say is a normal job, as opposed to filming a YouTube video once a week and kind of doing nothing else like some people think. But the amount of effort and time and everything that goes into it is pretty ridiculous. And I
Yeah,
think it
yeah.
also shows as well for anyone interested, the manager of Mr. Beast, who works alongside Feastables and things like that, is a guy called Reed. He recently spoke out about, I guess, the whole content strategy behind Mr. Beast and the shift in strategy of the actual channel of Mr. Beast. And I think most people would notice about the change. He was talking about things like posting once a week. So I think he's posting every Saturday now, isn't he? So there's all those videos. I mean, his most recent videos have broken a record every single time they've come out. Like,
Yeah.
it's for the most views, I think it's the most views in the first 24 hours that's not a music video or something. For the past two videos, the vacation video and the stranded video, and obviously his most recent one as well. But if you're anyone's interested, he breaks down, I guess, the reasons why they do so well. Improving on the storytelling. Previously, I think most people are aware that Mr. Beast videos were very like high paced, highly edited, to the point where it's so fast that the actual content, you could record a day's worth of content and it becomes a minute. I think it's still like that. He still has that, what I would call TV focused editing approach, where it's fast paced, constantly changing. Every 3 seconds there's something new on the screen to keep people engaged. But they're definitely experimenting with new editing styles and things. And I think obviously that's from a content strategy perspective and his actual business strategy perspective. But it also shows himself that, I guess, going from one video a month to one video every single week for the level of videos that he does, one video could take him 1 month to film now. Like, it is pretty crazy.
Yeah. So the exact tweet that he said is, in order to upload weekly videos later in the year, I've been filming every single day and only have a couple of days off, but filming between now and the end of the year, and I'm dying mentally. I hope you guys love these videos when they go up. I'm pushing myself to the max to get them done. So, the fact that he's kind of making it seem a little bit jokey, he makes it seem like he's all right at the moment. He's like I said earlier, he's just like aware that this is a lot of work and it might have some effect on him in the future, so he's just being aware of that. And I think it's good that he's putting out a tweet on it, because it just shows that he's being open about it. And he does have a lot of work ahead of him, because even though the Mr. Beast team is quite big now, and it is basically like a whole media company, he's still the primary brand of it. It's still not like it's not like a company like Apple or Amazon, even though they're probably bringing in insane money. Obviously not on like their level, but he's bringing insane amounts of money, and he's still like the head guy. He's still making all of these decisions, and he's still starring in the videos. So he does have a lot of work ahead of him, because it is kind of like that whole, he's doing the whole, I'm directing this, I'm producing this, I'm starring in it. And yeah, he's got other people doing that alongside him as well. But he is basically in that role where he wants to do everything because that's what he enjoys doing, and he likes doing that. That's good on him. But Tom, do you think this is sustainable? Do you think Mr. Beast can keep this up for another 5 years?
I think there must be a strategy to it, right? Like he's saying up until late in order to upload weekly videos later this year. I'm thinking maybe he's going to do it till Christmas, and then from the new year maybe there's a new content strategy in place where potentially, I mean, who knows what happened? He may have 200 mil subs by the end of the year. Yeah, maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But I think it could get to that point where he then starts to slow down and potentially goes back to every 2 weeks or every month. But I think it depends on what he's trying to achieve. Obviously, he's trying to become the biggest YouTuber. Maybe it's the point where when he surpasses T-Series, he slows down. Whereas right now, he's got so much momentum, he's just going to keep going and going and going. I think the important thing to mention, like you said, there is him, but there is also the team involved. You know, the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to make it possible. You know, and I guess as well, the other thing is his friends are in pretty much all the videos as well, right? Like they obviously want to be, but there's that pressure on them lot as well. So it's not. I think it's not just him, and he would say that. Like, there's so many people involved in making sure that they're pushing. The whole team are pushing themselves, right, to get the videos done. I'm not sure. I think it's probably sustainable depending on how much he wants to work, right? Like, does he get to a point where it's like, well, okay, let's slow down now, let's focus on Feastables or something rather than actually making content. Whether or not he will, I think it will depend purely on his content strategy that's decided upon with his team.
Yeah, I think something he's done really well is like bringing in the other people who star in his video, because I know a lot of YouTubers will try to expand out and try to get other people in their videos and be like, this is your new host, and absolutely no one wants them. But Mr. Beast has done it well, where he's brought in other people and done it in a way where people still like, if Mr. Beast wasn't in a video, and there's a lot of videos where Mr. Beast isn't really in the videos much, and people still like him because he picks good people to be almost like co-hosts and stuff like that. So he's got a good eye for all of it. I do think at some point, maybe further down the line, I mean, you can obviously tell in like you were saying, like the behind the scenes interviews, he's always so dedicated of like YouTube this, YouTube that, do this, do that, you know. Yeah. He knows what he's talking about. So I think he will stick with YouTube for like, not, well, when I say stick with YouTube, I mean literally like be like the main face of his channel for the next like 5 years minimum. But yeah, there may be a point where eventually he's like, you know, I built up a good team of, or like a good cast of people who can take over from this, and they can, you know, Mr. Beast can pop up every so often in a video, but he can just be on the business side, or he can just be on the Feastables side. He can just take any side at some point in the future.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's what would happen. I think if anything was going to happen, he would just slow the videos down. I don't think he would take himself out of the equation, because I think as soon as you remove him from the videos, it's sort of like, well, as much as people like the other people in the videos, it's not him anymore. So I think
they could do it to a certain extent. If he was to slow it
down, I think it would be a case of, okay, rather than a weekly video, we'll go back to what we did previously. But the thing is, the videos are such scale now. His monthly videos, like they used to be, are the scale of his weekly videos at the moment. Like, if you look at someone like Nico or Milana, for example, he uploads, what, every 3 months or something? Every 6 months on his main channel? His videos are absolute bangers every single time, because he's not uploading that much. Like, imagine trying to do one of those videos every single day. It's pretty much not possible because of the amount of time and work and everything that goes into it, unless you've recorded for the past, like, 5 years and scheduled them every day. Like, I think what people need to realise, and I think his tweet says that, is the scale of the videos. It's not just like a random person uploading a random video, a 10-minute recording that's not even edited every week. Is completely different. The amount of time that actually goes into it. I think, I can't remember where it was exactly, but I think someone said it was like 4,000 hours worth of editing or something for one of his recent videos. Like, that's ridiculous. On top of things like him suing VDC, whilst also getting counter-sued by VDC, apparently. and all of those different things that are going on. You know, you have Feastables, you have the clothing, you have everything else that goes on outside of the actual videos that he has to take into consideration. And I think probably some of the best examples that people have said about this is people like Ali Abdul, where it's like, if he's out recording, like he was on the raft for 7 days in the middle of the ocean, he doesn't have 7 days to work on the other aspects of his business. So if he's focused on, you know, developing all these YouTube ideas and he's out on a raft for 7 days, like that takes 7 days worth of time. So I think it's very possible that he'll keep doing it until he gets to a point where I guess he's content in what he's achieved. But I think from his perspective, all he's losing is time from other things that he might want to do. You know, like his philanthropy channel and things like that. But I guess these sorts of videos and the effort he's going to at the moment will fund and develop those other things anyway.
Yeah, I think in a way he's already at that point where, I know we disagree on this, but I think he's at a point now where if he wants to take a step back from the videos, he could like make a less than like a minute appearance in a video, and I think he could get away with that with the other cast, you know, of the other cast in the videos taking over. I think while he is the main face of the video and the main brand, if you got him in just for a little bit, I think that would be enough to satisfy viewers, because even though people are like, hey, that's Mr. Beast, that's the guy who does the philanthropy and all the giveaways and stuff like that, I think personally, I believe they associate more Mr. Beast as a brand alongside him. So it's like, it's Mr. Beast and the channel. You know, you get what I'm trying to say? Because obviously it's not...
It's more of like I get what you're saying. It's more of like a TV show than an individual creator at this point. It's sort of like in a way, it's like a Netflix series. Like, he could upload his videos onto Netflix and it'd be a series. But I'm not sure whether it's the fact that it wouldn't work. I just don't think he would want to do that.
Yeah, I don't think he'd...
If he's taking himself out of the videos, I think he would rather just slow the content down than remove himself. Yeah. But at the same time, I guess if that meant he could do other videos and things, then maybe he would, but...
Imagine if Mr. Beast became a publicly traded company.
I mean, that's a completely other discussion, like the valuation of YouTube channels, like...
Oh my god, yes.
Because how can you value a YouTube channel, right? Like, you can value the brands that are associated with it, but even that's hard, because...
Half of the channel's value is the creator.
I think... What was the channel? Was it Smosh?
Yeah,
they got recently
Smosh.
Bought back.
Yeah,
like, I'm not sure how they would have valued that.
Yeah, because it's only Smosh. It's only worth that much if they buy it. So it's like, how does that work?
It's only worth what someone's willing to pay anyway. Yeah. But how do you value that?
Well, speaking of other
Mr. Beast
YouTubers...
could say, right, like, I guess it depends on offers, right? Like, someone could offer Mr. Beast $1 bill for his whole group, right? Like, Feastables, the channels, everything. If he says no, that doesn't necessarily make it worth $2 bill. That just means he doesn't want $1 bill for it. But I think YouTube how they're going to value YouTube channels, I have no idea. It's very interesting, and I think there could be a whole built out from that.
Yeah, you'd have to sell the channel with some sort of contract saying you will continue to work on the channel for X amount of time. Because obviously part of the point of the channel, well, a lot of channels, not all channels, but majority of channels, the person is part of the brand. And if you don't sell the person with the brand,
a YouTube channel works like any other business, right? Like, you have customers, which are your viewers, and you have revenue generated from the channel. But as soon as you take away from, I guess, what the business is producing, in this case, the YouTube channel producing videos with the same people, what value is there? Like, there's nothing. Yeah. The only way you would maintain the value is the same person creating the same content, which, if they're trying to exit, they probably wouldn't want to do anymore.
Yeah. Well, speaking of other YouTubers, we got... Is it Calyx? Calyx owns No Two Ways?
Yes, it is.
Yes, Calyx. So, Calyx, the owner of No Two Ways. Owner, CEO, founder, all of those things.
I think it's co-founder.
Co-founder. Got it. For anyone who doesn't know, because I think... I don't know how big it is in America. It may be just as big as in the UK, but I know it's quite well known in the UK. It's a sneaker company and brand, and recently they just raised £2.3 million, which is a good amount from a varied amount of YouTubers. Tom, do you want to go through the list of YouTubers who have recently invested into No Two Ways?
Yeah, so I think it's very interesting, the fact that you know, Calyx's story is very interesting. There was a great podcast on, I think it's called Unboxed by Jordan, the guy's name is, who is actually one of the managers for the Sidemen. And he spoke to Calyx about all his whole story. So if you want to go check that out, it's very interesting. But it's no two ways, as Joel said, have secured £2.3 million in funding from not only, I guess, Calyx starting this himself and being surrounded by, I guess, you know, content in general, but he's now also had investors, including the likes of KSI, Mini Minter, Vicstar, which are obviously members of the Sidemen. You also have Laserbeam and Lachlan, which, you know, are the Australian creators, which are, I guess, fairly, very large within their own right. And then the other investors have also been the three managers of the Sidemen as well, which I think if your friends are willing to back your company, it says a lot about the company itself, but also the people running it as well. You know, £2.3 million is a significant amount of money to invest in any business, right? You know, that's not that's not the valuation of the business. The business was valued at, I think it was about £20 million.
Yeah, 20 million.
There's a significant investment and valuation on his business now, which, you know, is an amazing achievement. But I think the key thing is if they're willing to invest, it shows how well the brand is actually doing. It's not just, you know, I've made a sneaker brand, I'm hoping for the best. You know, I sold it for a year, made 10k to some YouTube fans and got on with it. Like, he's actually making a proper brand.
Yeah. This isn't fact checks, but I'm pretty sure I think I watched a video from him basically saying he makes nearly no money from this at all, because selling, I think it was saying selling shoes just isn't very profitable. Where after, like, especially like if you want like quality ones like he's making, after you actually get the materials and like the cost to actually make high quality shoes like these, you're basically not making a profit for yourself. So even though, yes, you look at it and you see it's valued at £20 million, it's almost like he's doing this as a passion project, which makes it, I think that makes the funding from his friends valued more to him. Obviously not valued in money, but valued personally more, because they're seeing this as like, this guy is dedicated to making this a brand and he's not getting anything from it, at least at the moment. So people are like saying, we believe in this guy we believe in Calyx to create a good brand. And obviously, you know, there's always some level of biasy because it's his friends, but, you know, I know when it comes to an investment, a lot of the time, nearly all the time, you don't care if it's your friend or not. You're doing it because you believe in the products and you believe in the person. Because, you know, if I came to Tom and I said, Tom, I'm gonna make a tree company where I
Dragon's
sell...
Den, pitch me something now. 30 seconds, go.
All right, it's a tree. It's a tree straw. It's a reusable straw made out of a tree, and it tastes like bark, and you get lots of little splinters in your mouth when you drink it. You know, and Tom's like, that's an awful idea. He's not just going to be like, it's a bad idea, but, you know, he's my mate. He's not going to do that. And, you know, it's the same for this. You know, his friends are going to look at the company and be like, I've tried these shoes. They're good shoes. They look nice. They're high quality. He's putting passion into it and all of that. I'm going to invest in it. Do they invest into it, or do they just give some funding towards it?
Well, I mean, I haven't looked into Company's House. I mean, I don't know the structure of it. But if they're securing it in funding, then they've invested in the company. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not just they've not just injected the capital and said we don't want anything out of it. Like they definitely would have. They would. I mean, I don't know the structure. They could have received equity. They could receive a royalty on the shoes. However, it's been structured. I would say it's probably some form of equity within the business.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, have you seen the shoes before in public?
I haven't actually bought a pair, so I haven't tried them on. Not the fact that I just didn't want them, I just haven't really, I guess. I think they look cool. I think the new ones, I'm not sure what they're called, but the ones which are like, not where you can take them apart, but they're like modular. I think that's a pretty cool idea, because then you can make multiple different looks and things out of one pair. And I think that's what they're going for, right? They're trying to be quite innovative in their brand, you know, fusing different technology, and I think they're trying to put a lot into differentiating themselves rather than just adding value as the brand itself.
Yeah.
Which I think, in terms of, you know, building a design team, building a production team, it's all about how they market those new processes within the shoes and new products and things. So I think I think it's very interesting. It's be interesting to see what happens and where it goes to. I think
Yeah.
it obviously depends on Calyx's goals, right? The other people within the business, but they could, I don't know, are they looking for a potential exit strategy? Are they trying to, get bought out by, I don't know, a large shoe company? I don't know. They could go to somewhere like, I don't know. I don't think Nike would Nike buy them out? I don't know. I guess they have Jordans, but
Maybe.
I think that there's a potential to get acquired, especially at that valuation. They're not a small shoe company. They're doing very well for themselves, so there is that potential to have a lot of different sales routes, collaborate with different brands potentially. I think the benefit
Yeah.
of having people like KSI, Mini Minter, Vigstar, Laserbeam, Lachlan, the rest of the team, the rest of the investors come on board is the potential for retail opportunities. Especially, now Sidemen have things like XIX in stores and places. They build their connections to other places. So, if they're trying to get into, I guess, retail outlets and things like that, whether or not it's making their own, destination store in London somewhere, a bit like Gymshark. I don't know what their business strategy is, but that would be my go-to, develop relationships with brands, potentially
Yeah.
collaborate with some, get it in some stores, get it in some distributors, get a brick and mortar store in central London, and
Yeah.
build
You
a
see,
brand from
my
there.
problem with this article is I know absolutely nothing about shoes. So I know nothing about any fashion. Yeah. In this podcast, guys, every episode you're gonna see me wear a black t-shirt near enough. I have no other. I have like 3 black t-shirts and black trousers and black joggers. Okay. I wear timeless fashion. So I'm not really like the top guy to ask about fashion and stuff and shoes and stuff like that. So I suggest we move away from it and we now talk about the next article, which is the recent, Elon Musk news. We all love a bit of Elon Musk news, and it's about what could happen to Bitcoin with the recent PayPal update. I mean, we all know that recently crypto has kind of been, for maybe about the past just over a year now. I think Bitcoin hit its bottom, its recent bottom, where it's being at now, since about May 2022. It's been on a downtrend since before that, since about
Yeah, I think, sorry,
January 2021.
jump in. I think it was at about 17K about 6 months ago. So
Okay, yeah.
It's come up slightly
Yeah,
from
it's
where
still
it
in like a
was.
range. I'll see if I can get the chart up, but it's in a range, stuck at this range at the bottom. It peaked at 60K in January 2021, and it's now in this range, anywhere between 17 to I think about 30K. I'll have to check the chart for exact numbers, but Tom, what are your thoughts on this PayPal update and how Bitcoin can be affected by Elon Musk and PayPal and all of this?
I think PayPal updates are always very interesting, right? I think there's always been talks, integrating Bitcoin into PayPal in different countries and things like that, and the updates that come along with that. But I think it's more about looking at the broader picture of Elon Musk and Bitcoin and things like that. I think it was either Tesla or SpaceX. I can't remember, that sold quite a lot of crypto. I think it was Bitcoin. They sold off quite a lot of it recently, which did cause quite a sharp drop in the value of it. We'll have to, I guess, fact check everything, but I think it's quite interesting because obviously PayPal it has different audiences, right? Like some people will purely use it to buy things online, so they think they have more protection. Some people will purely use it to send money easily to their friends, use it for business transactions, use it for, sending money to other businesses, dealing with, tracking things and all that sort of stuff. I think in terms of Bitcoin's perspective, I think it's very interesting to see the external influences that affect it, right? Because it's not integrated to an economy. So obviously I guess the closest relation to it is the US dollar, right? Most people will probably trade Bitcoin US dollar as opposed to any other currency, but it's not like inflation impacts it that much, other than the fact that the impacts of inflation would change consumer trends that could impact
It's
people
not like
buying
gold. It's not like
posing
gold
their
where you
Bitcoin
can.
or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gold pretty much goes
It's
the
quite,
opposite of the
it
dollar.
is
Bitcoin don't
decentralized,
do
but
that.
to the point where there's no direct impact other than people themselves, right? So if Elon Musk said, right, I'm buying £1 billion worth of Bitcoin, it would likely go up, right? Because if people got in, they'd think, okay, well, it's going to go up because there's so much more confidence in it again and all this and stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in terms of PayPal's actual updates to it. Though, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we can't forget. Well, first off, we can't forget X. And if you guys don't know, X is planning on becoming a super app. If you've heard of WeChat, quite a massive app in China, it's a super app is an everything app. It's got shopping in, it's got messaging, it's got payment systems, it's got restaurant recommendations, all of that stuff. It's all in one place, and that's what Elon Musk wants to do with X. He wants it to, the Twitter part is the messaging system and like the town square of the internet, and then he wants to build a payment system, and whether he allows crypto, which I think he will, because we know Elon Musk's point of view on crypto. There's a strong chance that he will accept crypto. Will he set up his own crypto? Who knows? We might get Elon coin, but I think with X, I think it will be a strong competitor to PayPal, because already I don't think PayPal is going to ever expand into anything else other than the payment industry. Well, Elon Musk has pretty much made clear he's making X go into many other industries, or X Twitter, many other industries than just messaging, and that makes it a force to be reckoned with PayPal. PayPal are going to be looking at X and thinking this can steal business from them. So it'll be interesting to see how this money side works on X, how it will affect PayPal, because it could be absolutely no one uses it. It could be that in 5 years' time, or 10 years' time, everyone's going to be sending money through X, and this is going to be like the next big thing. So right now, I don't think PayPal should be too worried right now about what Elon Musk will do with X, but I think it is something to be wary of, because Elon Musk does have a lot of followers, and he has created very, very successful businesses, including PayPal. So I think they do know.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
That's what I was just gonna say. It's not some random business person who's potentially creating a payment platform. Let's cut straight to the point. Elon Musk essentially created PayPal. Obviously there's a whole story that goes along with the creation and founding of PayPal and everything that went in with the mergers and things like that. But he knows how to set up a payment platform. He knows what he's doing when it comes to that. So I think if he wanted to, he definitely could. I think he's obviously gone past PayPal, so he wouldn't want to really do anything with it. But I think it would be interesting to integrate a payment platform in some way. I don't think he would, but I think personally one of the best ideas would be to integrate Apple Pay into X. Because if you have one of the largest social platforms integrated with one of the largest payment providers, being Apple Pay, I'm not sure what percentage of people use iPhones on X, but if the percentage is high enough, right, people could send money using Apple Pay between users. Although at the same time, I think a lot of people use X, or Twitter as most people know it as, using different accounts, so they may not necessarily use a personal account or use a business account on X compared to PayPal. They're not. You might just put, I don't know, your first name on Twitter and a random profile picture, whereas on PayPal, if you're sending money, you have your full name and your details and stuff. Would people want that linked? I guess you could potentially have different public versus private information on the platform, so it's slightly different. But
yeah, well, just to jump in with X and people having personal accounts and things, I think another thing that Elon Musk said is he wanted to have X as also like an ID system. You can just show your X account, and this is like a valid form of ID, and you're only going to have one X account. He really wants to cut down on fake accounts and spam accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's just
that's
you
true.
have one account and you scan your ID, and that's near enough. X will be near enough proof of ID, something like that.
I think that's a good point. And I also think the fact that he's actually very dedicated to the creators on the platform, which I think is shown by the ad revenue, like we've previously spoken about.
That's insane.
If he's that invested into making sure that people feel rewarded for contributing to the platform, invested in the platform, but also, it's going to get to the point where the platform will make more revenue from things like that as well. So it gets to the point where they could integrate new features and processes and things like that, which would benefit everyone using it.
Yeah, Yeah, and like you said with that ad revenue thing, that is an insane amount that they're giving away. I want to know how much of it is ad revenue and how much of it is coming from a pool. Like how TikTok, I don't know if TikTok still does this, but how TikTok initially
Well, like the
started.
YouTube Shorts fund.
Yeah, how much of it is a fund and how much of it is ad revenue? Because surely some of these people are getting insane amounts of money per month. Probably more than like some YouTubers get for like a similar amount of like, you know, a comparable amount
Yeah,
of
I don't
views
actually know how ad
from
revenue on
tweeting.
Twitter is calculated.
Yeah, so I have a feeling a large portion of that money is coming from a pool, but if they're willing to top it up like indefinitely, then fair play. But if this is just like a little, hey, look how much money you can make on X, you know, and then in a year's time they're not going to update the pool anymore, then
I think Elon did say the fact that I'm not sure whether it's subscribing on Twitter or X or the actual ad revenue, but it is going to slightly decrease after a year.
okay,
I think it's the initial. I think it's subscriptions where you can subscribe to someone and the creator gets a certain percentage, but after a year it's going to decrease slightly just because obviously to get people signed up, show support to the creators, and then after that it'll decrease so the actual platform can make more money to actually run the platform and those features. But
at least he's being honest about that. He's not trying to trick people in and be like, yeah, come over here, we won't change our prices at all, and then in a year's time he changes it. He's being honest. He's basically saying, listen, you've got these rates for the next year or so, it's going to change in a year's time. A topic that I really want to talk about at some point is Kick. I mean, we don't have time to talk about it today, but Kick is a really interesting streaming site, especially with their splits. They have pay by hour.
25%.
Yeah, and they have pay by hour, don't they? Where is that Twitch or is that Kick?
I don't think that's integrated yet, but I think they're planning on doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's pretty cool. Like, if you're looking for a more stable income, something like that, then the pay by hour thing is pretty sick.
It's similar to Twitch's ads incentive program, apart from the fact the ads incentive program you would need so many viewers to make an hourly wage. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be cool. But anyway, on to the next article. I do want to talk about Kick at some point. We'll try to find some articles to talk about in the next podcast because it is an interesting thing. But the next article, staying on the trend of Bitcoin, we've got the Bitcoin slump under 26k. So we're just going to go into a bit more details on it. Overall, the entire crypto market has been down for the past couple of years. You know, we all know that. The question is there going to be another rally? Now, if you ask any fanatic of crypto, they'll say, of course there's going to be another rally. But it's not always the case, you know? You can look at so many coins that just don't go up again. Personally, this is not investment advice. Personally, I do think there will be another rally. I don't think it's going to be as strong as people are saying. You know, some people are saying, oh, it's going to go up to 200k, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's going to be that strong. And people make it sound like 200k in a year or something like that. I don't think it's going to go up to 200k in a year. You know, a large part of Bitcoin is to do with public sentiment. I know that's to do with like every stock and stuff like that. But especially with Bitcoin, the price of a cryptocurrency can change from a single tweet from a large enough entity, which is an insane amount of power. And it makes me think you're relying on a rally based on almost how much publicity Bitcoin gets. You know, if people less and less stop talking about Bitcoin, less people are going to invest in it, the price is going to stay low. So your 200k rally that people are talking about is heavily reliant on Bitcoin building up that momentum again, not just in price and technicals and, you know, all the other factors, but also to do with how the public perceive crypto and Bitcoin specifically.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to think it's going to go down from a technical standpoint. But the difference with crypto, unlike other currency pairs, is you can't really rely on technicals that much. Because like you said, there's so many different external influences that could impact it, like a tweet or something, where it could suddenly change. But I think the overall hype and awareness of Bitcoin has kind of died down significantly. Like if you ask someone 3-4 years ago, what do you think about Bitcoin? It would be one of the biggest points of news, right? If you ask them now, they'd be like, don't care. like unless they're actually invested in it. Like if you
Yeah.
went down the street saying, "Do you care about Bitcoin?" Someone would be like, "Oh, is that still a thing?" Like, I
Yeah.
think it's very interesting, right? Because I had the opportunity to speak to quite a lot of people about it about 3 years ago, I think it was. And they were all predicting what they thought Bitcoin was going to go to. You know, some people said 70k, some people said 100k by the end of this year. And it's like, I don't think that's ever going to happen unless something crazy happen. But I think over the next 5 to 10 years, I think it will likely increase. But again,
Yeah.
it depends on people's interest in it. You know, do they stop caring about it? Is there more uses for it? I
Yeah.
think it got to a point where it was so overhyped. I think that probably one of the best things to compare it to is actually the watch industry. You know, if you look at things like Rolex prices, right? Like you had some selling for, retail was maybe 5k. They were selling this time last year maybe 50, 60k. Now they're going for about 20. It,
Yeah.
it's completely different to Bitcoin, right? Because you're buying one currency for 26k as opposed to one watch, which is completely different. But I think it shows the fact that prices have decreased significantly for lots of different things, and it's potentially, I don't know, I think it acted more of a bubble than people thought it would. I don't think it was
Yeah.
ever going to keep going and going and going up straight. Like that was just never going to happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
mean, I
just
personally
so
never would have bought in at 60k. I think that would have been
yeah, yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. Just so we're clear to everyone listening and watching, we are not crypto haters. I know in the crypto world, it's such a huge thing that if you have any sort of bearish sentiment, it's almost like you hate crypto. No, I'm just trying to predict the price accurately. I don't care whether, this coin is, I don't care of
I mean, when
whether,
people said it, I did back the idea that it could get 100k at some point within the next 5, 10 years. Whether or
yeah,
not that'll happen, I don't know.
yeah.
I think
When we say we think crypto is going to go, when we think of crypto is going to go down, we're going to go up. We're not saying with any sort of bias. We're just saying it based on our
yeah, I
analysis,
mean,
based on
neither of us
history.
are personally invested in Bitcoin, so it
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm
really
not.
matter.
Yeah,
I don't want it to go down. I don't want it to go up.
yeah. I'm interested
I mean,
in
if I bought in
cryptocurrency.
2017, then I would want it to keep going up, but I would have got out
Yeah.
by then anyway.
Yeah, I'm interested in cryptocurrency. I think it's a cool thing to look at. Personally, for myself, again, this is no hate to the crypto community at all. Just personally for myself, I wouldn't invest in it. It just doesn't match with my investment goals. But that's no hate to someone who does want to invest in it. Each to their own.
I think it's good to
investments.
diversify your portfolio, though, but I think it's slightly too late.
Of course, yeah. I just think when I look at the chart, I'm trying to like look for an entry, and for example, when I look at something like the S&P 500, I know it's quite like an easy and basic example. I can see a pullback on the S&P, and I'm like, generally, I can look at the US economy and think there will be a recovery at some point, and in 5 years' time, we'll be looking at a healthier economy. I'm not saying that with certainty or guarantee, but there's a lot more. I don't know how to word it, but a lot more like solid in data factors. A news release comes out and that this is going to have a positive effect. While crypto, there's so many news that comes out on it, and people can perceive it as positive and negative. And for me, I just can't make a well-judged investment based on the news that I see from crypto. Again, if you can, brilliant, go for it. It's just for me personally, I can't. What about you, Tom? Can you find any sort of way to invest in crypto?
I haven't really tried because I haven't cared enough about it. But I think it's very interesting. Like I'm just looking at the charts on this website now, right? Like I didn't have the opportunity to because I physically couldn't actually do it myself, so I didn't. But 2017 would have bought, right? Because it's more of a punt. It was what, between 2 to 3k for one Bitcoin. Like if you stuck £100 on it then, it's like, okay, well, you're taking a punt, right? Like you're diversifying your portfolio, but you're taking quite a high risk.
Yeah.
It could completely flop. It could do very well. I think once you got to the point, it's like, I guess the first sort of peak before it slightly dropped down in 2021, beginning of 2021, January, 40k. We're going from 4k to 40k, That's a significant jump. But you're taking even more of a punt.
Yeah.
At that level, I don't think you are taking a punt because you need to put in so much for it to do well that it's not worth doing. But then obviously
Yeah.
then it spiked back up to it dropped down a little bit, and then it spiked up to about 60k. I think the key thing as well that maybe some people didn't realize is that it actually went from, what was it, 59k back down to 30 before it then reached its second peak at like 64, 65.
Yeah.
So it has done it before. I think now though it's definitely consolidating a lot more, and it's going up.
Yeah.
God. No. I think
mean,
it will likely go up. I think if anyone had the opportunity to buy in January, I think that would have been a good idea. I mean, we're saying that now, looking back on it, it was 16k. It's now up to 26.
yeah.
I think there's definitely opportunities if you're willing to wait and hold for it, right? Like another opportunity would have been in beginning of March, 20k, once it dropped down a bit. You know, you could have then exited for 30k. You could have bought again at 25, exited again at 30, down at 26. I think it depends on your strategy with it, right? You could enter and just hold it for 5 years and see what happens. But I think the chart says a lot more than the actual thoughts around the coin itself. Like if you purely looked at the charts and compared it to the S&P 500, it's completely different to that, but
You can still see trends in it.
I think it's worth maybe sticking 1% of your portfolio in it. Because, I mean, if it goes down a bit, it goes down a bit. If it goes up, great. I think it is likely to go up. Whether or not it'll break its peak, I'm not sure. But even if it goes from where it is now, 26, I think maybe by the end of the year it could be back up to 30.
Yeah. I mean, my opinions on crypto day trading are completely different to investing.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because when I'm looking at investing, I'm looking at a multitude of factors. When I'm looking at day trading, I don't care what crypto is gonna do in a week's time. I care about what it's gonna do in the next few minutes to hours. And I think any market is profitable for day trading, because all you need in a market for day trading is for it to go up and down. That's all you need. So if you can find a strategy that can accurately, not always accurately, majority of the time accurately predict when it's going to go up roughly, when it's going to go down roughly, then of course you can profit from that. It's just, different parameters for investing, obviously, as I said before. Tom, do you have any final thoughts on this topic before we head on to the next article?
I think my prediction for Bitcoin in the next year is 35k will be its peak by the end of the year.
I think that's a good prediction. I'll go... What are we at the moment? We're about 25k?
Actually, nah.
End of the year,
I'm going to go back to what I said before. I would say 30.
Yeah, I'm going to say 30 as well. End of the year, I'm going to say 30k for Bitcoin. Yeah. But the next article, guys, we're going to be talking about some recent news at the cinema. The other day, it was National Cinema. The other day? Was it today?
The article's from today, but...
Yeah. Anyway, it was National Cinema Day. Lots of cheap tickets at multiple cinemas. No idea if it was in the UK, but pretty sure in America it's a big thing. You get discounted tickets and stuff like that. Not that the cinemas can afford to give away discounted tickets in the current climate, but hey ho, it's a thing. Gran Turismo, I think it's doing all right. I hope the budget is the box office results are in here so we can have a look at them. Gran Turismo is a racing film about a guy who is racing, used to race started racing using computer.
Is that the one based on the game?
Yeah. So he starts on the game, and then he gets an opportunity to drive in real life. And the movie's basically like everyone putting him down, just being like, "Yo, listen, bro, you can't do this. This isn't a game." But then the whole movie's about like him rising up against it. And Barbie is still going strong. Obviously, we're going to look at these numbers, and Barbie's not going to be anywhere near the numbers that we were looking at a couple of weeks ago. But that's completely fair. Barbie's several weeks old now, so it makes sense. But it still seems to be doing all right. So it says here, the 6th weekend of Barbie was at 15 million, which is pretty strong for a movie that's six weeks old now. As it's still doing well. People are obviously still watching it. I wonder how much of these people are like repeat viewers going back and watching it again.
Yeah. I think 6 weeks it's enough time for it to be out.
Yeah.
Where people can repeat, but it's also not that long, the fact that people might not have seen it yet.
Yeah. Most of the people watching it now are the people who didn't care much about it in the first place, but are now just going to watch it because they want something to watch at the cinema. People who cared about Barbie watched it when it came out. These are now the people who are coming in just being like, all right, I've got a free weekend, I'm off work, let's go to the cinema and watch Barbie or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's now Warner Brothers' biggest movie in North America as well, right?
Wow, yeah, it has done insanely well. But
I don't think it has beat Harry Potter yet, but apparently it might do.
Okay, yeah. But Gran Turismo made 17 million in its first weekend. So it has beat Barbie, but you know, it's nowhere near Barbie's level. Yeah, it beats it by 2 million, and this is Gran Turismo's first week versus Barbie's sixth week. So, you know, they're two different movies. They're completely different movies. You know, one's had an insane budget, one's budget and marketing and everything.
Well, actually, looking at it, Sunday's box office, Barbie did better. It hit 5.7 mil. Gran Turismo did 4.7.
Oh wow, yeah. I guess
50 million tickets sold during the domestic run of Barbie is crazy.
Gran Turismo, it looks alright, but it was never gonna be a hyper successful movie. I don't think it was never gonna be that film, you know. But again, that doesn't make my judgment on the film any less or any different. I haven't seen the film. It could be a great film. We're just purely talking statistics here of, you know, how profitable it's gonna be. I might go see it, you know, because I saw a trailer for it. It looks alright. It's just, I think one of the biggest things now with movies nowadays, and you know, this is always the thing, but more than ever, is the marketing. You need to market your movie as an event. 10 years ago, you could make a movie and you could be like, it's a good movie, people will go see it. Now, a movie can be sometimes bad, and as long as you have good marketing and you market it as an event, it doesn't matter. You will get sales. I mean, look at the MCU. You know, I
was literally just about to say something.
Yeah, look at Shang-Chi.
So carry on.
You know, Shang-Chi was never gonna be the biggest movie in the MCU or anything, but Marvel made the MCU an event. So people went to see Shang-Chi because it was a Marvel movie. Anyway, that's what studios are trying to focus on now. They're trying to focus on making each of their movies an event.
Yeah, exactly. I think Shang-Chi was actually a pretty good movie as well, to be fair.
I somewhat enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a pretty good movie. You know, I was saying it was never going to be Endgame level, Iron Man level, Guardians of the Galaxy level, but it was still an event for people watching just MCU in general, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of the MCU, going slightly off on a tangent here, have you seen the MCU book that got announced today?
And
I think it's called the MCU An Official Timeline or something. It's a book which shows the whole timeline of the MCU.
Oh,
like there's like a proper trailer for it and everything.
Edition 1 of 3.
But I guess my point is, I think it's coming out in October. Do you think a book is the best way to do it, or do you think they should have done a, I don't know, 10-15 minute show on Disney Plus?
Personally, I think the book was the best way of doing it, because I feel like the only people who care about the timeline this much of wanting to buy some sort of merchandise around it are the exact people who would go out and buy a book that they're just buying it because they like Marvel, you know. This isn't they're not I don't think they're making this book because they're like, guys, we're going to be #1 New York Times seller, we're going to be #1 in the charts, Amazon top rated, Audible, all of that. They're making it because it's like another piece of merchandise that, you know, they can sell to fans of Marvel. So I think a book is like a good way to, you know, diversify. Like, oh yeah, we got Funko Pops. Funko Pops, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
You got those, you know, oh, we got little figurines of these, we've got posters, you know, we got DVDs. Let's make a book.
You got Lego.
Now. Lego, yeah, you got Lego, all of that. And it's just like, there's another thing that someone can slap on their desk. So I think, like, you know, they could have either done like a poster or a book, but I do think like having like a physical copy of the Marvel timeline is something that fans would be interested in.
The pages of the book they put in the trailer do look pretty sick.
Yeah,
but I just think I think it depends, right? Like you said, if it's for die-hard MCU fans, then it's sick. I think the whole purpose of it, though, it's for fans who don't potentially understand the MCU and how it how interconnected it is. So I think it's like, would they bother to read, however many pages, paragraph for paragraphs of it, or is there a way they could have potentially put it on a Disney Plus show? So I think the book is sick. Like, it looks awesome, right? But like, if they could have had a Legends episode, is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, Legends.
If they could have had a Legends episode which kind of summarized everything, I think that would have been sick.
If they have marketed the book towards people who are new to the MCU and need to understand, I think that's an awful decision. I think this book needs to be...
The description of the trailer says, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, an official timeline, is a stunning visual guide, which, to be fair, it is, created, well, from what we've seen, collaborated it, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, the book will be the go-to resource for fans who are hoping to connect the dots and truly understand the complex web of interconnections between the various Marvel Studios films and streaming series.
See, I think that's targeted at super fans. I think that's people who are like, I love the Marvel movies. How do I connect them all together? Rather than people who are just starting out and needing to be like, okay, that movie goes there, that movie goes there, and stuff like that. If they have decided their target market is people who need to understand the MCU for the first time, they've picked the completely wrong target market. I think a Disney Plus show would be far better for people like that. Just a quick summary.
I think the best thing it shows it on Disney Plus, where it literally shows the movies and series is in order, in chronological order on Disney Plus.
On the homepage, yeah.
If they need to go to a book to figure that out, like, fair enough. I think it's cool. But actually, that leads on to my next point. This is, again, going off a complete tangent more towards Disney Plus now. Do you think Disney Plus could become not necessarily just a streaming platform, but a platform for all things related to Disney? As in, they could have like a digital version of this book on Disney Plus, or do you think it should primarily be for shows? Because if you have a Disney Plus subscription, right, and you had all of this in one place, you could just click on the book. Having access to Disney Plus gives you access to the book as well.
Yeah. You know what?
I mean, that defeats the whole point of selling a book, but...
Yeah, now you've said it, something that's clicked in my mind of where that would fit perfectly is the Apple Vision Pro. Being able to use Disney Plus. Yeah, use Disney Plus not only to watch movies, but
like, imagine like an AR timeline of like clips. And,
stuff like that.
Flying around, and that was so cool.
Being able to use Disney Plus to have, the cinema room in the Apple Vision Pro. Imagine being able to change that to the environments. That's what they call it. The environments. Imagine being able to change that to Tony Stark's house. That's something they could bundle into Disney Plus. So now you've made me think about it. Yeah,
I think that'd be such a sick idea.
Yeah, bro, let's sell this to Apple. We get a couple million out of this.
Yeah, Disney, hit us up, bro.
yeah. Even though your stock, we'll buy some of your stock, and we'll be
no cost. Just give us like one share. Okay.
Give us one share. We'll be your representatives. Share? I think it's like 86 at the moment. Is it lower?
That's not bad. We'll do that. Banging deal.
Yeah, I'll get a share. Hang on,
$83. Yeah, we'll take 2 shares of it Disney for our idea.
Nice. Oh no, Siri, go away. Oh god, I need that Apple Vision Pro.
Like, yes, much easier. Calling Apple.
Siri knows what's up. Siri's going to invest.
I actually think that'd be a cool idea, though. But I think that's how you diversify your outreach, right? Like, I think that's a good example. They have how cinemas and movie studios can develop themselves. They had all the films that have come out for the past however many years. Now they've managed to develop a streaming service. Obviously, it's Disney, so they have Marvel, but they have all the shows on the streaming series, and now they have a book purely dedicated to the whole MCU itself because of how they've managed to build up such a large, like you said, going back to the event. It is an event.
Yeah.
You also, it's completely different, but you have the integrations in Fortnite as well. The live event, not the live event, sorry, the Thanos limited time modes and things like that. It's so hyped that so many people wanted to play it purely because of the characters in it. I think that just speaks for itself.
Yeah. It is such a interesting topic of talking about how copyright and rights go between each other. Some people find it so boring. I find it so interesting to be like, boy, these companies love each other or hate each other, and like, how do these rights work? We could talk about. I think like last podcast we basically did talk about it for like nearly the whole hour of just like rights and stuff like that, because we went on to like Winnie the Pooh and all of that stuff. But to wrap up the podcast, we've got one more article which is a new YouTube feature that may be available to you right now. I think this is really cool, and this leads into the whole AI thing as well. But it's the new feature that YouTube has released, which is the hum to search. Oh my god, this is a godsend. There are so many times where I'm like, what's that song that goes and then the people I'm asking are just like, what the hell are you doing? I need this feature right now, because I think that's one, it's such a cool feature, but two, how do they do that? The amount of like compute, like, I'm speechless. What do you do?
Right?
It's got to be AI. Somehow AI has got to like identify what kind of notes you're, because you might sing out of key or you might hum out of key, but it will still know what key you're trying to produce somehow. I mean, I don't know what the accuracy of this is like. It might tell us in this article, but personally, I think it's a cool feature. I'd love to try it out. I have an Android. I might see if I can give it a go. What are your thoughts on it, Tom?
I think it's a cool idea. I mean, personally, I don't think I would ever use it. Because I would just try and figure out as much as I could, then search it out, then find it on YouTube that way. So I don't think I would ever actually really use it. It would be interesting to see whether or not Apple and Shazam, because obviously Apple owns Shazam, whether or not they did something similar, if it's purely for music. You know, if this is targeted towards music, would Shazam try and do the same thing?
Yeah.
Like, is there... I guess if they're using AI, I'm not sure how it would work, but is there any sort of patent or anything over YouTube and Google's software or whatever they've done? Because I think if you could integrate it into an app like Shazam, that would be sick. Like, you pull up your Apple Watch, press Shazam, hum, tells you the song instantly. Great.
Yeah, that is sick.
I'm not sure. I think maybe Google could work with Apple to develop that into the app. Just like they have, you know, on Shazam, you could have Apple Music, like YouTube Music, all the Spotify, like all the different things. So
yeah. Well, I think
yeah, I think it would be
Google,
cool, but maybe if they could develop it in other ways.
Yeah, I think Google are starting to very much focus on YouTube. I mean, I have YouTube Music, and in the past year or two, they've recently introduced something similar to the Spotify Rewind thing at the end of the year. About a week or two ago, they introduced something called Samples, which is TikTok, but for music. It's pretty cool. I go on it like maybe once a week just to see if there's any good songs on it. At the moment, the algorithm is awful. It shows me songs that I don't care about, and you know, this is Google. Google knows everything. Idea. Yeah, cool idea to find songs, but it doesn't work. Like, it's showing me songs that I have never shown any interest in, or it's showing me songs that I already know about. It's like, this should be a discovery system. This shouldn't be like a, hey, I remember this song, swipe. This should be like a, hey, I like this song, save. You know?
Yeah, see, there's a thing on Apple Music which is like, it's your name, so it's like such and such is radio, and if you press play, it's a radio show, but it's actually not. It's just a personalized playlist. So every time you press next song, or the next song comes up, it's a song based on what you listened to previously, or what sorts of songs you like. You know, if you love it or whatever.
That was another thing
it's
YouTube
basically
added.
That. It's not discovery because you can't see it all, but it creates a playlist based on what you like to listen to.
YouTube has done a similar thing in the past couple of weeks, which is another thing that they've done towards music, is they've created something similar, extra couple buttons. So what you do is it will create a playlist and you select some parameters. So it will say, which artists are you interested in? It will come up with like a list of hundreds of artists. You can just keep scrolling and tick who you like, blah, 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 keep scrolling. And then it will say, do you want to discover? Do you want something familiar? Or do you want something, or do you like a mix of both? And then it will compile a playlist and start playing songs that you haven't heard before that are similar to the artist that you've selected. It will start playing forgotten ones that you just haven't listened to in a while. It will start playing like a mixture of the two. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, all of those features, plus this new humming one, YouTube/Google are obviously getting into getting into music, way more into music. So I wonder if they're up to something. Do you think they're up to something, Tom? Do you reckon this is like part of a master plan to control or set up a new business section of YouTube? What do you think?
I think it could potentially be because of shorts. As in they're trying to develop shorts to become a one-stop shop sort of thing for everything. You know, if someone has a short and someone starts singing in the short, then someone could hum or whatever, singing a short, it then shows them the song, it links to the song, it does something. Or it could be they're trying to create a search engine via a voice-based search engine where you don't actually need to know what you're looking for. If you can hum it, then you can find it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think YouTube is working on a bunch of sick features, which will get integrated into the app, which will help users.
Yeah, and we do have that new YouTube CEO as well. New guy running it. This could be his brainchild. I mean, I don't think so, because this seems like something that would take
I don't think
years.
it is. Yeah, I think he's involved in different things.
Yeah, because this is something that would, one, take multiple years to create, and he's only been there for, what, maybe a year now? Just a couple months now?
I think it's like 6 months.
6 months, yeah. So, you know, this is something that YouTube has probably been working at for a while. Maybe it's part of Bard. Maybe it's using similar technology to Bard.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, I mean, hey, new features, I'll always enjoy new features, because this seems like something that Apple would take and put the Apple magic on it, you know?
That's what I mean, put it into Shazam.
Yeah, they would do, but they would do it the Apple way. They'd put the magic on it to make it feel like...
Put it into Google Homes, that would be sick.
Yeah, just say,
actually,
hey...
I think that's probably the best use case for it. You know, you say, Siri, blah, blah, what's this song? You start humming the song, it plays the song for you.
Yeah,
that would be the best use case for it, I think. Rather than pulling out your phone, going onto YouTube saying, let me hum this song, blah, 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 what is this song? If you could instantly, if you want to listen to a song and you don't know what it's called, and you can hum it and it plays out your HomePod or your Google Home or Alexa or whatever, that would be cool.
Yeah. I think
it's all things to make smart assistants actually smart and useful.
That's true.
Make it as much as Jarvis as they possibly can.
Yeah, because I do like that about my... Siri's gotten better, but especially like when I have a Google Home, and I've always thought, like, you know, my Google Home just understands a lot better than Siri. I'd be able to talk to it quite naturally. When I'm talking to Siri, a lot of the time, the only time I use Siri is when I'm in the car and I'm yelling at it because it's just not listening to me. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, play this song, and then it won't reply. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, play this song, and then it will go, what app would you like to play this on? And I say, YouTube Music. And it just won't reply. I'm like, oh
yeah,
God,
see,
hey.
I'm not sure whether it's changed now, but when I first got my HomePod, which I think was fairly recently after they came out, you could only use Apple Music on a HomePod. So I guess if you're integrated into the Apple ecosystem, you didn't need to say play it on this app. You would just say play this song and it would play it for you.
Mine doesn't do that. It's so annoying, man. I need to change something in my settings.
One final thing before we, I guess, lead on from this. Thoughts, and you probably haven't even seen it, it's only because I just saw it come up on Twitter. Thoughts on the new Prime flavour, which is coming out on the 30th of August. And
what is it?
I guess the success of... It's called Glowberry.
What the hell?
I just saw this, but my main point was the Streamy Awards after talking about YouTube. I think Prime won the Streamy Award for creator product. So I think
sick.
I think it shows the how successful it's been as a brand. You have massive football stars signing to it and things like that. So
we definitely. What color is it?
It's like black and green.
Oh, okay, cool.
It sort of looks like the KSI one, but it's green instead of orange.
We definitely need to talk about AI, not AI, sorry. Talk about Prime on a podcast. That would be a good
Prime
topic.
and Circular coming up soon.
Yeah, coming in the next episode. But speaking of the next episode, guys, we're gonna
play the trailer.
play the trailer. We're gonna wrap this one up. Thank you everyone for watching. And we'll catch you in about a week's time with the next episode. See you guys later.